Number 1. The Tucker 48 doesn't just sit in history, it haunts it. Not like a forgotten car quietly fading away, not like a misjudged design politely dismissed. The Tucker 48 is the kind of machine that lingers because it was too ambitious, too disruptive, and too early for a world unprepared to understand what it represented. It is both a car and a question, a mechanical manifesto that the industry and the public wasn't ready to read. When Preston Tucker unveiled the 48, it didn't arrive with a whisper or a gentle introduction. It arrived with conviction. A single glance was enough to tell you that the automobile world had shifted, whether you were ready or not. The bodywork was futuristic, low, wide, and confident, with flowing lines that suggested motion even at rest. The grille and hood didn't mimic the sedans of the late 1940s. They proposed an entirely new way of seeing what a car could be. And then there was the detail that made drivers and critics pause: the central headlight, mounted between the two main lamps, designed to turn with the steering, illuminating the path as if the car itself were watching, anticipating. It was audacious, revolutionary. Dangerous, not in the sense of speed or power, but in how it dared to redefine normal. The rear-mounted engine challenged centuries of accepted engineering practice. Safety features, reinforced passenger compartments, padded dashboards, early concepts of crash protection hinted at a future when the human occupant might matter more than the mechanical spectacle. These weren't gimmicks, they weren't fleeting ideas meant to impress. They were innovations that suggested a fundamental change in the relationship between driver, car, and the road. Yet genius often arrives before readiness. The world wasn't prepared for the Tucker 48. Dealers, competitors, regulators, and the media looked at it with suspicion, if not outright hostility. Here was a car that didn't just compete, it challenged the rules. It dared to question the structure of the industry itself. And when you drive or imagine driving this machine, the sensation is clear. It is alive with intention, uncompromising in design, and unafraid of the expectations of the era. One former owner whispered with reverence and a hint of fear, it felt like driving something they didn't want the world to have. And that suspicion would prove prophetic. The company came under investigation. Fraud allegations were leveled. Preston Tucker himself was dragged through courtrooms, scrutinized not for the quality of his cars, but for perceived ambition, for challenging the status quo. Production ceased almost as quickly as it began. Only 51 cars emerged from the factory floor, a small, tangible fragment of a vision that the world refused to nurture. Even decades later, the debate continues. Was the Tucker 48 really a victim of mismanagement or misconduct? Or was it crushed because it represented a threat to an entrenched conservative industry unwilling to cede ground to innovation? Enthusiasts and historians still argue, dissecting patents, court records, and interviews, but the truth remains obscured. Perhaps the point isn't whether the accusations were fair, it's that Tucker dared to build a car the world wasn't ready to accept. And that is the essence of its legend. The Tucker 48 is a car suspended in time. It is not merely rare, it is unresolved. Unlike the NSU Prince, the ISO Grifo, or the Amilcar Compound, which faded because of timing, market forces, or public incomprehension, the Tucker 48 was actively halted. Its story was interrupted, a trajectory of ambition and ingenuity cut short before the world could see its full impact. And that interruption is precisely what gives it power. Its absence is felt as acutely as its presence might have been. The cabin is another lesson in paradox. Functional yet futuristic, it offers wide, open seating, an intuitive layout, and details designed to protect and comfort. Yet every element reinforces the sense that you are in something unique, something beyond ordinary comprehension. Driving it is not just motion, it is participation in an idea, a glimpse into a future that never fully arrived. Every curve of the body, every mechanism under the hood, every detail from headlight to engine placement declares intention. It is a car designed to communicate, to challenge, to provoke thought before most drivers even realized what a car could be. And now, as you step back and consider it in the quiet of the hangar, the Tucker 48 looms differently than the other cars around it. It doesn't exist for style or for comfort or even for speed. It exists for possibility. It is a bridge between what was and what might have been. It embodies the tension between innovation and acceptance, genius and greed, vision and fear. It haunts because it was interrupted. It fascinates because it was unafraid. It is more than a car. It is a story, a question, a what-if crystallized in metal and glass. And as you stand before it, imagining the streets it might have ruled, the innovations it could have normalized, the future it might have accelerated, you understand something rare. Some machines don't just exist to be driven. Some exist to challenge perception, to defy convention, to linger in thought long after the roads they were meant to conquer have moved on. The Tucker 48 didn't just fail, it was denied. It didn't merely fade, it was silenced. And that silence is its enduring roar. It shouldn't exist in memory the way it does, and yet, somehow, it does, perhaps more vividly than anything else in automotive history.
Number 2. The Phantom Corsair doesn't whisper, it looms, not just in size, but in imagination, in presence. Long before tail fins and chrome excess defined American dreams, this machine arrived as if it had been carved from a future nobody had dared to sketch. Low, sleek, black, and impossibly smooth, it doesn't sit on the road, it hovers above it, a shadow made tangible, a vision in motion, even when still. Built by Rust Hines, the Phantom Corsair was less a car and more a statement, radical, audacious, and breathtaking. There were no running boards to interrupt the flow of its body. The doors were hidden, integrated seamlessly into the contours, demanding attention without ever seeming mechanical. The wheels were tucked, the fenders merged into the body, the windshield wrapped like a visor around a cockpit that seemed almost more suited to a spaceship than a car. Every line, every curve, every shadow seemed calculated to defy expectation. It was an object designed to suggest speed while standing still, power while drifting into elegance, and sophistication while screaming rebellion. People who saw it described it in terms that mixed wonder with disbelief, futuristic, otherworldly, unreal. One might have compared it to a sculpture in motion, a phantom of design that had slipped forward in time. And then tragedy struck. Rust Hines, the visionary behind this dream, died in a car accident at the age of 24. The Corsair, which had been the embodiment of his imagination, never reached production, never touched the hands of the wider world, never became more than a prototype, a glimpse into a direction American cars might have taken, but never did. The what-ifs linger. What if Hines had lived? What if the Corsair had influenced the designers of the 1940s and 1950s before tail fins, chrome wings, and boxy silhouettes became the standard? Could American automotive design have taken a path of continuous futurism where aerodynamics, elegance, and integrated form reigned over ostentation? The speculation has followed the car ever since, adding a mystique no factory production or showroom success could ever rival. To sit inside the Phantom Corsair, even hypothetically, is to feel an unfamiliar sensation, a sense that the world outside is ordinary, while the car beneath you exists on a different plane. The low, enveloping cockpit gives the illusion of flight. Every control, every angle of vision, every surface is meticulously crafted to immerse, to transport, to convince you that reality is secondary. Driving it would not have been merely mechanical, it would have been psychological, emotional, almost spiritual, a direct transmission of the designer's genius into the experience of the road. Yet the car remained almost unreal in every sense. With Heinz gone, the world was left with an icon of potential rather than achievement. The Phantom Corsair exists today not in numbers or production records, but as legend, a machine frozen in time, a monument to possibility and loss. Museums, enthusiasts, and historians gaze at it and wonder not only at what it is, but at what it might have become. It's a car that teaches us that innovation can be tragically fleeting, that genius may be halted not by competition, but by fate. And perhaps that is its true power. The Corsair doesn't merely impress, it haunts. It lingers in memory, in imagination, in speculation. It forces you to look at the past and ask what could have been. It forces you to compare the ordinary with the extraordinary, the realized with the unrealized. It is more than a car. It is a question, a shadow cast ahead of its time, a reminder that history isn't just written by what survives, but by what might have survived if fate had allowed it. The Phantom Corsair, long, low, impossibly smooth, doesn't exist to be common, understood, or reproduced. It exists to provoke awe, wonder, and that unbearable curiosity about the roads we never traveled, the designs we never embraced, and the future that was stolen before it even arrived. And as you stand before it, or imagine standing before it, you realize some cars are not meant to be driven. They are meant to be remembered, to haunt, to inspire, to whisper across decades the story of brilliance interrupted, of a vision too advanced, too audacious, and tragically incomplete. It should not exist, and yet it does. And that is why it will never be forgotten.
Number 3. The Dymaxion Car is unlike any machine you've ever encountered. At first glance, it defies classification. It is not simply a car, it is a radical reimagining of what a vehicle can be. Designed by Buckminster Fuller, it embodies the spirit of experimentation taken to an extreme, a bold statement that transportation need not follow the conventions the world had accepted for decades. Every curve, every angle, every proportion was meticulously considered, guided not by aesthetics alone, but by aerodynamic principles and a vision of efficiency that was astonishing for its time. The Dymaxion Car stretches perception as much as it stretches the imagination. It is long, tapering, and teardrop-shaped, almost as if it were an airship that had been grounded and given wheels. Its body is smooth, seamless, with a polished aluminum or metal-like surface that reflects light in unusual ways, giving it an almost unreal presence in motion or at rest. 3 wheels support it, 2 at the front for steering and 1 at the rear, creating a dynamic that few drivers of the 1930s or even today could intuitively understand. That rear wheel could pivot sharply, allowing turns that defied conventional wisdom, making it seem to dance or pirouette on the pavement. Inside, the Dymaxion was no less ambitious. The cabin was arranged to maximize space, allowing seating for up to 11 passengers, a remarkable feat for a vehicle of its size. The interior felt more like a mobile lounge than a conventional car, with seating oriented for comfort, visibility, and movement. Every inch was designed with intention, every detail considered for function and efficiency. Fuller's thinking went far beyond mechanics. He imagined a vehicle as an ecosystem, where the human occupants and the machine itself existed in harmony, minimizing energy use while maximizing mobility. And yet, for all its genius, the Dymaxion Car was dangerous. Its innovations, which today might seem straightforward or manageable, were radical in the 1930s. The very design that gave it maneuverability also made it prone to instability at higher speeds, especially when cornering. When one prototype crashed during testing, killing the driver, the world took notice, and not kindly. Speculation arose immediately. Was it driver error, or was the design itself fundamentally unstable? No one could answer definitively. There was no production model to refine the engineering, no field testing to correct the risks. It remained an extraordinary concept, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure.
After that crash, the Dymaxion project quietly faded. Fuller shifted focus to other innovations, geodesic domes, architectural designs, other ideas. But the Dymaxion remained as fragments in history, blueprints, photographs, a few surviving parts. And yet, even in its disappearance, it commands attention. It stands as a symbol of what is possible when imagination refuses to be confined by convention, when vision dares to challenge the very rules that govern safety, stability, and design. The Dymaxion car was not meant to survive in the marketplace, at least not in its original form. It demanded understanding, respect, and a willingness to embrace radical change, qualities few in the 1930s possessed. Its failure was not technical, it was cultural. It arrived decades ahead of a world unprepared for such a leap, a machine both brilliant and ill-fated, a dream in metal and mechanics that could not be grounded in reality. And yet, the fascination endures. The Dymaxion car is more than a curiosity. It is a study in ambition, in the intersection of creativity and practicality, in the tension between genius and mortality. It embodies the thrill and terror of radical innovation, the delicate balance between inspiration and danger. Looking at it, one can imagine the roads it might have transformed, the traffic patterns it could have redefined, the conversations it could have started about what vehicles could do for people and for cities. It remains a paradox. It is aerodynamic yet precarious, spacious yet alien, functional yet almost impossible to control. And in that paradox lies its power. Unlike cars that succeed, that dominate, that fit neatly into history, the Dymaxion exists as a challenge. It forces us to ask questions we rarely consider. How far can innovation go before it is dangerous? When does genius exceed the capacity of society to understand it? What risks are worth taking in the pursuit of progress? The Dymaxion car should not have been possible. Its three wheels, its airship-like body, its daring interior, its radical approach, all of it defied the expectations and engineering knowledge of the time. Yet somehow it was real. It existed. It moved. It promised a future that never fully arrived. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy of all. Not its speed, not its capacity, not its cleverness, but its audacity. Its unwillingness to conform, its refusal to compromise, its demand that anyone who looked at it imagine a world where transportation was not ordinary, but extraordinary. The Dymaxion car didn't merely fail, it was interrupted, abandoned, misunderstood. It was a vision too radical, a future too early, a machine too daring, and in that it became immortal, not in production numbers or market success, but in imagination. It is a car that haunts the history of innovation. It is an idea in motion, a possibility frozen in time. It is thrilling, terrifying, and inspiring all at once. It shouldn't exist, and yet it does. And for that brief, fragile existence, it will never, ever be forgotten.
Number 4. The Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic occupies a space in automotive history that few other machines can claim. Equal parts beauty, engineering brilliance, and mystery. Designed under the exacting eye of Jean Bugatti, the Atlantic was more than a car. It was an object of desire, a work of art, and a fleeting glimpse of perfection that existed only briefly before vanishing into legend. Only 4 were ever built, each a handcrafted symphony of curves, rivets, and impossibly elegant lines, a combination of aerodynamic foresight and luxury that seemed almost impossible for its time. Its silhouette is instantly recognizable. Sweeping teardrop fenders, a sharply pointed nose, flowing lines that suggest motion even while standing still, and a cabin that hugs the driver and passenger in a cocoon of craftsmanship. The bodywork was painstakingly welded with the patented Electron magnesium alloy, which gave it incredible lightness but made repairs nearly impossible, a choice that speaks as much to artistry as to engineering. The Atlantic was built to be admired and driven, but also to endure only the most careful handling.
And yet, of the four, one vanished, the fabled La Voiture Noire. It had been shipped to Britain at the outbreak of World War II, supposedly for safety, a treasure to be preserved amid chaos. After that, it simply disappeared. Some say it was hidden in a private collection, locked away from the world. Others whisper that it was destroyed in the firestorms and uncertainty of wartime Europe. No photographs, no records, no eyewitness confirmations have ever definitively placed it again. Its absence only amplified its legend, a car that was so perfect, so rare, and so beautiful that the world could not contain it, and perhaps never saw it again. Collectors, historians, and enthusiasts have spent decades chasing shadows of the Atlantic, tracing rumors, piecing together fragments of letters, shipping manifests, and whispered stories. Every lead ends with more questions than answers. The allure of La Voiture Noire is not just in its rarity, but in the unknowable mystery that surrounds it. To see one is to witness artistry at its peak. To imagine it is to wonder what beauty the world has lost to time. The Type 57 SC Atlantic was fast, yes, its supercharged engine capable of speeds approaching 120 miles per hour, extraordinary for the 1930s. But speed is almost secondary. What it offers is presence, a design so fluid and cohesive that it seems to have emerged fully formed, as if it had always existed, a perfect answer to a question the world hadn't yet asked. Every curve flows into the next, every line has purpose, every rivet tells a story of precision and obsession. Driving it would have been not just a thrill, but an encounter with a machine designed to evoke awe and reverence. And yet, perhaps the Atlantic was never meant to be fully understood. Its disappearance makes it more than a car. It becomes a riddle, a dream deferred, a reminder of how fragile brilliance can be in the face of time, war, and human circumstance. Some collectors still search, some still hope, some still write of it in hushed tones, their imaginations filling the void left by its absence. Its legend is alive because its reality cannot be confirmed. It exists in memory, speculation, and desire. The Atlantic, and La Voiture Noire in particular, embodies a paradox. It is simultaneously real and unreal, tangible and spectral, mechanical and artistic. It is proof that cars can transcend mere function, entering the realm of myth. Those who see one or even a photograph feel a reverence reserved for works of art, as if touching it brings one closer to a lost perfection. No one knows for sure where La Voiture Noire is today. Perhaps it sits hidden, encased in shadows, in a collector's private vault, never to be seen again. Perhaps it was destroyed, a casualty of circumstance and history. Perhaps it waits in plain sight, unrecognized, its true identity obscured. And yet, despite all uncertainty, the Atlantic continues to mesmerize. Its rarity, its beauty, and the mystery of its missing sister combine into something unforgettable. It is a car that defies time, defies history, defies memory itself. It is not merely a machine, it is a legend in motion, a dream of perfection that exists both everywhere and nowhere at once. To imagine driving it is to step into the impossible, to sit in a cockpit that represents the pinnacle of pre-war design, to feel the engineering genius beneath your hands, to command a machine that is more art than metal, more myth than mechanics, and then to remember that one of these wonders, the ultimate Atlantic, La Voiture Noire, is lost to history, leaving only longing, speculation, and awe in its wake. It is beauty, speed, and engineering, and an enduring, haunting mystery. It shouldn't exist in our minds the way it does, and yet, somehow, it does. And that is why the Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic will never, ever be forgotten.
Number 5. The Chrysler Turbine Car is one of the strangest and most audacious attempts to rethink what a car could be. Not a concept, not a prototype kept under lock and key. It was real, drivable, and given to ordinary people. Built by Chrysler Corporation in the early 1960s, it was powered not by a conventional piston engine, but by a jet-like turbine engine, capable of running on nearly any fuel: diesel, kerosene, gasoline, even perfume. It was a car that challenged everything the world believed about driving, mechanics, and practicality, and it did so with a quiet confidence that bordered on arrogance. 50 of these cars were produced and loaned to families across America. Everyday people were given keys to machines that sounded like spacecraft, smelled faintly of burning fuel, and accelerated with a smoothness no internal combustion engine could match. Owners marveled at the silence of the turbine, the lack of vibration, the ease of operation. One participant described it as the closest thing to driving a starship without leaving the ground. It was remarkable, exhilarating, and undeniably alien. Yet, despite the excitement and curiosity it generated, the Chrysler Turbine Car program ended almost as abruptly as it had begun. Almost all of the 50 cars were recalled and destroyed. Only a handful survived in museums or private collections. Officially, the reasons cited were practical. The turbines were expensive to produce, maintenance was specialized, and emissions and fuel consumption didn't meet expectations. But the suddenness of the recall, the thoroughness of the destruction, and the secrecy surrounding it left many with lingering questions. Why erase such a groundbreaking experiment so completely? Why destroy machines that were functional, remarkable, and nearly magical? A participant in the program later reflected with a hint of disbelief. They asked for it back, and then it just disappeared. That simple statement captures the mixture of awe, frustration, and loss that surrounds the Chrysler Turbine Car. These were not flawed vehicles in the usual sense. They were extraordinary. They represented a glimpse of what automotive propulsion could have become, a path that might have taken American cars in a radically different direction, but that path was cut short, erased, almost as if the world weren't ready for the idea, or perhaps as if someone decided it shouldn't exist at all. Driving a Chrysler Turbine Car would have been an experience unlike any other. The engine emitted a deep, whirring sound that was both alien and mesmerizing. The throttle response was immediate, almost as if the car anticipated your intentions. There was no traditional vibration, no clatter of pistons or gears, just an almost meditative acceleration, a smooth surge of power. It felt effortless, almost ethereal, yet completely alive. And yet the same features that made it extraordinary also made it incomprehensible to the public and the industry. It was too strange to trust, too advanced to mass produce, and too revolutionary to integrate into the existing automotive culture. The destruction of nearly all the cars turned the turbine program into a legend. It became a story whispered among engineers, collectors, and automotive historians. A reminder of what could have been, a cautionary tale of progress that was too disruptive for the establishment. The few surviving cars are now priceless artifacts, carefully preserved behind glass, their engines silent but still resonating with the possibilities of a world that might have been. The Chrysler Turbine Car stands as a paradox. It was real, functional, and revolutionary, yet it was almost entirely erased. It was simultaneously ahead of its time and misunderstood, desired and forbidden, practical and fantastical. It was a car that existed for a moment, not to be owned or celebrated, but to be imagined, experienced, and then, almost cruelly, taken away. In its quiet destruction lies a haunting lesson. Sometimes innovation is not defeated by failure or lack of vision, but by circumstance, timing, and the unwillingness of the world to accept the unfamiliar. The turbine car reminds us that some machines are not meant to dominate the roads, but to challenge the mind, to provoke thought, to inspire awe, even as they vanish. It shouldn't exist in memory the way it does, yet its legacy endures. And that is why the Chrysler Turbine Car will never truly disappear. It is not just a machine, it is a whisper of possibility, a ghost of innovation, a fleeting glimpse of a future that might have been. Number 6. The Ferrari 512S Modulo exists in a realm beyond ordinary automobiles. It is not simply a car that moves on roads, it is a vision that challenges everything you thought a car could be. Designed by Pininfarina, it is a machine of contradictions, simultaneously futuristic and grounded, alien and unmistakably Ferrari, elegant yet impossibly aggressive. Its proportions are extreme, low, flat, and wide, with a body so stretched and aerodynamic that it seems sculpted by wind itself. Its lines flow with intent, as if the air itself dictated every contour and every surface, every panel, every ridge whispers that this is not a car built merely for transportation. It was built to provoke awe, to challenge perception, and to redefine the very idea of automotive beauty. Originally constructed in 1970 atop the chassis of the Ferrari 512S, the Modulo was never intended for practical use. For decades, it existed as a static concept, a striking sculpture, a statement piece that dominated rooms and captured imaginations. The gull-wing canopy, sweeping curves, and perfectly integrated wheels give it the appearance of motion even while standing still. It looks less like a car meant for roads and more like a spacecraft that has descended onto Earth, designed for a future the world was not yet ready to see. It is a vehicle that existed as a dream first, an engineering marvel second, and a fully functional machine only much later. For decades, the Modulo's allure came from its mystery and extremity. It didn't need to move to command attention. Its design alone was magnetic. Its flat, elongated shape, its canopy that seems to wrap the occupants in a futuristic bubble, the impossibly smooth, continuous surfaces, all combine to create something almost unreal. To see it in person is to feel the tension between awe and disbelief. This is a car, yes, but it is not a car as anyone else has ever known it. It is a concept brought to life, yet forever a challenge to conventional understanding. Then, in the 2010s, the Modulo was restored. Its engine roared back to life, its canopy became operable, and suddenly this sculpture could move. To witness it rolling across a surface is to confront a paradox. It is at once a functioning vehicle and a manifestation of imagination unbound by practicality. Its presence on the road, or even moving slowly in a controlled environment, is almost surreal. It glides rather than drives, floats rather than accelerates, exuding a sense of calm yet undeniable dominance over space. Driving it would not merely be operating a car, it would be stepping into the mind of a designer who dared to imagine the impossible. Why was the Modulo created in the first place? That question lingers as sharply today as it did 50 years ago. Was it pure experimentation, a designer pushing the boundaries of form and function? Was it a statement, an exercise in turning heads and defying expectation? Or was it a glimpse into a future of automotive design that never arrived? A vision of cars as instruments of spectacle, wonder, and artistry as much as transportation. Perhaps it was all of these things at once, a machine born from curiosity, ingenuity, and the courage to defy convention entirely. The Modulo embodies extremes. It is Ferrari in essence, fast, precise, and beautiful, but stripped of every limitation, every expectation of comfort or practicality. It is both familiar and alien, a car that retains the DNA of its racing chassis while appearing as though it is emerged from the imagination of someone decades ahead of their time. It challenges every assumption about what is normal in automotive design, about proportions, ergonomics, aerodynamics, and presence. Every curve, every canopy, every flowing panel seems to whisper that the ordinary is irrelevant, that the extraordinary is the only thing worth creating. Its story also teaches about time and perception. For decades, it was static, admired but inert, a dream trapped in metal. Then, when it was restored, it became real. Movement gave it a new dimension, transforming awe into something almost tangible. Yet even in motion, it remains untethered from conventional understanding. It moves like a thought, glides like a whisper, and leaves an observer suspended between disbelief and admiration. Few cars provoke this feeling. Fewer still maintain it when they can actually move. The Modulo is also a reminder that the line between art and engineering can be both fragile and bold.
Its existence questions the purpose of cars themselves. Are they simply functional machines, or can they be sculptures, provocations, ideas on wheels? Can a car inspire as deeply as a painting or a building? The Modulo answers yes. It is proof that the automobile, when conceived without compromise, can transcend mere utility and enter the realm of pure imagination. It was never meant to blend in. It was never meant to be practical. It was meant to awe, to inspire, to challenge, and to exist in a state between dream and reality. Its low, impossibly wide stance, its sweeping flat lines, its canopy that wraps the driver and passenger like a pod from the future, all of these combine to remind us that sometimes the most important cars are those that refuse to conform. The Ferrari 512S Modulo should not exist on ordinary roads. It should not move under ordinary conditions. It should not be tangible at all. And yet, it does. And that is why it is unforgettable. It is not just a car, it is a statement, a vision, a fleeting glimpse of a future that might have been, a dream realized in metal and glass. It is audacious, extreme, and unyielding, a machine that refuses to age, refuses to fade, refuses to be ordinary. The Modulo does not merely inspire, it demands imagination. It does not exist for convenience or practicality. It exists to make people look, to make them question, to make them dream. And decades after its creation, decades after its reawakening, that demand has not dimmed. It shouldn't exist, and yet somehow it does. And that is why the Ferrari 512S Modulo will always remain one of the most extreme, enigmatic, and profoundly unforgettable cars ever conceived.
Number 7. The Chevrolet Corvair occupies a strange, almost tragic position in automotive history. A car that was both innovative and misunderstood, celebrated for engineering boldness, yet vilified in public opinion. It was not unusual to look at. Its styling was clean, understated, even conservative by European compact standards of the early 1960s, yet it contained ideas that were distinctly unconventional in American car design. Built by Chevrolet, it was conceived as a compact, efficient, and forward-thinking alternative to the typical American sedans that dominated the highways. Chevrolet sought to compete with European imports like the Volkswagen Beetle, and in doing so, it embraced an unusual configuration: a rear-mounted, air-cooled flat-six engine, independent suspension, and a compact, low-slung body that gave it both efficiency and an oddly distinctive personality. From the beginning, the Corvair was a vehicle of contradictions. On the one hand, it was approachable, small, economical, and designed to fit the needs of everyday drivers. On the other, it carried engineering choices that were radical for its audience: a rear-engined layout that altered handling dynamics, a swing-axle rear suspension that could produce oversteer if not handled carefully, and a chassis that rewarded precision and understanding. To many ordinary drivers, these were quirks. To enthusiasts, they were thrilling features. One driver, reflecting years later, remarked, "The Corvair was alive under your hands. You had to think with it, anticipate it. It wasn't forgiving, but when you understood it, it became a companion rather than a machine." Yet the Corvair's destiny was dramatically shaped not by its performance, but by perception. In 1965, Ralph Nader published Unsafe at Any Speed, a book that would change the car's fate forever. Nader's critique focused primarily on the handling characteristics of the early Corvair models, particularly the swing-axle rear suspension, which could produce sudden oversteer under aggressive maneuvers. Headlines erupted, legal threats emerged, and the car that had been innovative and bold suddenly became synonymous with danger. Sales collapsed, and Chevrolet's once promising compact car became a public example of what can go wrong when innovation is misunderstood or weaponized. Dealers reported nervous customers, anxious phone calls, and a steady decline in confidence that no technical update could fully repair. The Corvair's story became not a story of engineering brilliance, but of scandal and fear.
Later studies, including tests conducted by the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, revealed that the Corvair's handling was not significantly worse than many contemporaries. In fact, many American cars of the era exhibited similar handling quirks, yet few were scrutinized as harshly. By the time the truth emerged, the damage was done. The Corvair had already been branded unsafe in the minds of the public. Its legacy became a case study not just in automotive engineering, but in social perception, media influence, and the power of narrative to shape public opinion. It raises a question that resonates far beyond cars. How much of what we fear is real, and how much is the product of context, timing, and cultural momentum? The Corvair's fate also had profound consequences for the wider automotive industry. It became the catalyst for the first federal auto safety regulations in the United States. The National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act of 1966 and the creation of the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration were in part responses to the Corvair controversy. Ironically, the very car criticized for being unsafe helped spark the frameworks that would protect millions of drivers in the decades to follow. In that sense, the Corvair's story is paradoxical, a car both vilified and responsible for reshaping how safety, design, and public trust are considered in the industry. Despite the stigma, the Corvair remained a remarkable machine. Its rear-engine layout offered distinctive handling dynamics, its flat-six engine was smooth and responsive, and its design, while understated, carried a charm that drew enthusiasts even as the mainstream recoiled. Owners who learned to respect its quirks found a car that was agile, nimble, and characterful in ways few American vehicles could match at the time. Collectors today prize early models, appreciating not just the engineering, but the story. A car that provoked controversy, endured vilification, and yet remains a compelling piece of automotive history. The story of the Corvair is ultimately a meditation on timing, perception, and the fragility of reputation. It asks us to consider the interplay between innovation and society, how a car can be technically sound, yet fail because the world is not ready to understand it, how a vehicle can be condemned not because it is fundamentally flawed, but because public opinion, amplified by media and politics, determines its fate. The Corvair was caught between eras, ambitious enough to challenge convention, yet arriving in a culture unprepared to embrace its differences. The Corvair should not be remembered merely as a cautionary tale. It should be remembered as a vehicle that dared to be different, that challenged norms, that exposed the fragility of perception, and that ultimately changed the course of automotive regulation. It's a reminder that innovation can be both celebrated and vilified, that brilliance can be feared, and that history sometimes judges not what is, but what it fears might be. The Corvair was ahead of its time, or perhaps it was simply a victim of the time it arrived in. It was misunderstood, maligned, and yet undeniably influential. And that is why the story of the Chevrolet Corvair will never be forgotten, not just as a car, but as a symbol of risk, misunderstanding, and the delicate balance between innovation and perception. It exists in history as both a cautionary tale and a monument to ambition. A car that dared to be different and suffered for it, yet remains a legacy no other vehicle could.
Number 8. The Stout Scarab is more than a car. It is a rolling idea, a vision of mobility that arrived decades ahead of its time. Often called the world's first minivan, it shattered conventional thinking about what an automobile could be. Designed by William Bushnell Stout, it featured a rear-mounted engine, a flexible interior, and seating that resembled a lounge more than a traditional car cabin. Every line, every curve, every detail was carefully considered to make the vehicle less a machine for transportation and more a space to inhabit, a living room on wheels. Stout envisioned a vehicle that didn't just move people from place to place, but offered comfort, flexibility, and freedom. An extension of the home, a mobile sanctuary. The Scarab's design was radical even by today's standards. Its streamlined aluminum body, smooth curves, and unusual proportions made it look futuristic in the 1930s.
The absence of a traditional chassis and the use of the monocoque body meant it was lightweight and efficient, but also so unconventional that mechanics and buyers alike struggled to understand it. Inside, the cabin was modular, with seats that could swivel, fold, or be rearranged, and space to walk through while the vehicle was stationary. Its rear engine configuration freed up interior room, creating an airy, almost luxurious environment. One early observer famously said, "It's not a car, it's a room that moves," and people aren't ready for that. It was brilliant. It was forward-thinking. It was impractical. Too expensive for most buyers, too unconventional to gain mass appeal, too far ahead of an era when cars were expected to be metal boxes with wheels, engines under the hood, and predictable seating layouts. The Scarab challenged expectations on every level: aesthetics, engineering, functionality, and philosophy. It demanded imagination from those who drove it, and patience from those who maintained it. Yet, despite its lack of commercial success, the Scarab left an undeniable mark. Its influence can be traced in decades of automotive design, from minivans to luxury vans, and even modern recreational vehicles. Stout imagined what the future of personal transportation could be, and in many ways he was right. The world just wasn't ready to follow him. The Scarab asks the same question that haunts many of these radical machines. What happens when innovation exceeds the readiness of society, when creativity arrives too early, or when practicality lags behind imagination? The Scarab, like the Tucker 48, the Dymaxion, and the Chrysler Turbine, illustrates a common thread. These cars weren't simply misunderstood, they were victims of timing. They challenged norms, defied expectations, and demanded a level of trust and vision that the public, the market, or even the industry wasn't ready to give. They pushed the boundaries of engineering, design, and philosophy. They were ahead of their time in ways that made their brilliance invisible or even threatening. Driving the Scarab would have been a revelation. To step inside was to leave behind conventional automotive experience. The spacious interior, lounge-style seating, and sweeping windows offered comfort and visibility unmatched by contemporary vehicles. The ride itself, with its rear-engine balance and lightweight body, must have felt different, almost ethereal, a quiet promise of what mobility could be if not constrained by tradition. Yet despite this, the Scarab never achieved widespread recognition, its radicalism alienating those unwilling or unable to grasp its vision. The story of the Stout Scarab is more than a story about a single car. It is a meditation on innovation, timing, and human perception. Some machines fail because they are poorly engineered. Others fail because they are simply too far ahead of the moment. The Scarab belongs to this latter category, a vehicle so advanced, so visionary, that it could only exist as a prototype, a concept, a dream in metal and glass. Its failure is not a condemnation of its genius, it is evidence of it. And perhaps that is the greatest tragedy and the greatest lesson. The Scarab, like so many radical machines before it and after it, was not meant to fail in conception. It was misunderstood, yes, but it was also ignored, overlooked, and rejected for the same reason that it inspired fascination. It was extraordinary. It wasn't just a car, it was a vision, a philosophy, a moving room, a glimpse of a future that never arrived on the roads of the 1930s. And yet, in memory, in photographs, in stories whispered by enthusiasts and historians, it endures. The Stout Scarab reminds us that innovation is fragile, brilliance can be ephemeral, and the world often reacts with skepticism to anything that refuses to fit neatly into expectation. These machines, Scarabs, turbines, modulars, Atlantics, Dymaxions, they weren't failures. They were warnings, dreams, and provocations, demanding that anyone who encountered them reconsider everything they thought they knew about cars, design, and the future itself. They were, above all, unforgettable.